Hi! Recently I put up a video with Rosianna where we talk about some of the books that we are currently reading, and very close to that I also got a tweet from someone saying that my currently reading shelf on Goodreads is slightly confusing, so they enjoyed seeing that video where I talk about two books specifically. Now the reason that my currently reading shelf is a bit confusing is that I'm probably reading about like 11 books at all times. I do go through and clean up that shelf from time to time, but it is fair to say that I'm usually in the middle of quite a few books. Now in the name of science and research, I figured I would do a Twitter poll. And so I asked you guys, how many books are you usually reading at the same time? And here are the results. 37% says they only ever read one book. 53% say maybe 2 to 3. And then the rest 10% say that they're reading too many to count. Now I would say I solidly belong in that last group, the 10%. I don't really know where it came from. I don't think I used to do this as a kid. As a kid, I would just read one book so quickly that I didn't even have time to start a different one. I would sometimes read it in the same day or like read it in 1 or 2 days. But I think my reading behavior has changed for a couple of different reasons. Number one is probably that I just have a different lifestyle now and I'm in a lot of different places. Sometimes I'm reading at home, sometimes I'm reading during my lunch breaks, sometimes I'm reading on the tube, sometimes I'm reading while I'm traveling. I just kind of want different books for different situations. So usually I will have the following on the go. I will have one audiobook to listen to when I don't want to listen to any of my podcasts. I will have one book that I'm reading on my phone, on my Kindle app. Usually this is a YA book, just because I like to read a couple of pages while I'm on the tube, and this is the easiest for a book that I can sort of like read a couple of pages and then pick up again. Then I try to have a non-fiction book on the go, no matter what category it is in, and then I will have 1 or 2 more fiction, like physical fiction books that I'm either reading at home or that I sometimes put in my bag. If it is a hardcover, it will not leave the house because I don't want to damage it and it's too heavy. If it's a paperback, it might get carried around a bit. Now I have quite a solid rule for reading books at the same time, and that is I need to read at least like 40 or 50 pages of one book to be able to go to a different book, because if I only read a tiny bit I won't be able to remember enough of it, and I would basically want to start from the beginning again once I go back to that book. I feel like once you have 50 pages out of the way, you're enough into the story that you kind of know what's going on. It's not very confusing anymore. You can kind of put it on hold. And what I really love about reading books at the same time is that when I pause a book, it doesn't feel like I've given up on it, or that I won't be reading it later. I'm simply just pausing it. And it also means that I always have a book that I'm in the mood for, so I don't get stuck on one book specifically because I just don't feel like reading it that week. The one thing I was having trouble with though, I was reading a short story bundle and I kept having to stop reading in the middle of a short story, which is not quite enough to remember where I was, so I would start reading and go like, which short story am I on? I can't remember. Other than that, I would say I'm super happy reading lots of books at the same time. I know that some people think that you can't really focus on the books that you're reading, but I think if you have no trouble doing it yourself, then there's nothing wrong with it. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because I find it really interesting and I love to hear about people's different reading habits. I would love to know if you have any set rules for yourself about how many books you can read at the same time, or like when you're allowed to pause and start a different one, or which mediums you prefer to read for different situations. Alright, that is it. I'm actually about to head off to Berlin. I'll be filming a video there. I'm also doing a meetup at 11 o'clock. I'll put the location in the description. It's on Saturday. I hope to see some of you guys there. If you want to see more of the trip, follow me on Snapchat, Books and Quills. I think that is it, and I will talk to you guys later. Doei!